You wished upon a star.
Now we want you to share with us our latest and greatest dream. Disneyland.
Just go to Action Park. There's no other park like it.
Six Flags Great Adventure. It's not a world away.
Paramount's Kings Island.
We will officially open Universal Studios Florida.
Hello, I'm Michael Eisner.
Now, here is your host.
Hi, my name is Kevin Perger. Welcome back to the Defunctland podcast. Today we are going to be having our post-episode discussion on Alton Towers, our first international park, with Larry Bundy Jr., the king of YouTube comment sections, I would say. I had not known of Larry before, but he has been all over the internet in every form. It's kind of like a horror movie for me. Everywhere I go, it feels like he has already beat me there. When I was looking, at other people's videos when I was just starting, Larry was there commenting. When I started my own videos, Larry found me, and then when I was looking,
I found you. You cannot hide from me.
and then when I was looking to make my book, I was looking at this website called Unbound, and then Larry's on there too. And he's just everywhere. So thank you so much for coming on today.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Well, I've been on every other podcast in history, so finally get to you. So.
Yeah, exactly. I can't. He's on the podcast. It's impossible to hide.
Joe Sims of the internet. I am just on everything.
That's great. But I have watched some of your videos. I personally am not the biggest video game fan, but I find your videos very fascinating. If you want to just talk about what you do in case anybody actually does not know.
Okay, well, basically, I do sort of the history of certain things, sort of going behind the gaming industry and that sort of stuff that nobody really knows about, sort of scandals that went on and interesting sort of weird anecdotes and stories, stuff like that. And like I said, a lot of the stuff is I try and uncover stuff that nobody else has ever touched before on the internet. So a lot of the stuff is quite original on my channel.
And let's see, my favorite video of yours, and this one was rather recent, I believe, is the five games that developers didn't have endings to, right? Or was it similar to that?
What? There's one that they basically didn't finish the game, so they just ended it with a bug or something. So they thought you couldn't. Five unbeatable games by dickish developers, I think it's called. Yeah.
Right, yeah, that was the one. I love that one. That was so interesting. And
thank you.
But you don't have enough theme park video games, I will say.
I do not. Well, I got Peter Molyneux, and he's made most of them. So he's made a few. Made theme park.
Well, at least you don't have enough of my favorite theme park video game, which I've never even disclosed before. And I talked to you a little bit about this. It's the Legoland Cd-Rom game.
Oh, wow.
And have you ever played this or seen this?
I have not. No. Is it? Is it the one that Lazy Game Reviews reviewed years ago?
I do not know, but Lego. Oh, okay. I'll review it for you. It's amazing. It's really not anything completely spectacular, but it's just it's kind of like it's Roller Coaster Tycoon, but Legoland. And so it's a fun game, and you get to build your own park, and there's this whole thing, and it's Legos. It's a highly recommended on my part.
How old is this game as well?
1999, maybe 2000. I'm not a game guy. I only know about extinct amusement park attractions. I'm very limited here. That's all I know. I don't even know about present day attractions.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
Nostalgia.
Absolutely. Yeah, but the Legoland and then Thrillville.
Yes, I know that.
Have you played Thrillville?
I've got a copy of it, but I never got around to playing it.
Thrillville has the most repetitive soundtrack of any video game I've ever played. And you run around the park cleaning up trash and you're like a custodian basically that also owns the park. It's very interesting.
Chinatown in the park, yeah.
And then Thrillville Off the Rails is literally the clickbait version of Thrillville. I don't know if you've probably been on. Well, you've seen every video on YouTube, so
yeah, I have. Yeah. 3 times actually.
Yeah. Well, there's the top 10 roller coaster accidents, and then on the thumbnail it'll have a loop that has like no top to it, and the car's just like midair. that clickbait stuff. That's what Thrillville Off the Rails was.
Wow.
Yeah, it's awesome. And so you are going to be telling me about everything about the parks where you live, because I know nothing. And so I want to know everything about parks in the UK and any other European parks that you've been to. So I'm just going to let you talk and just tell me direct this conversation in whatever direction you want to go.
Oh, okay. Well, most of the theme parks I've been to actually all the European theme parks I've been to are in the UK. The nearest one to me is Thorpe Park. They've got Legoland Windsor. That's just down the road from me as well. That used to be Windsor Safari Park. Then they got rid of all the animals and replaced it with Lego. They're far more easier to maintain. You don't get.
If they lose an arm, you can just pop one back on.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. And Chessington World of Adventures is a sister park to Thorpe Park and Alton Towers, because they're all owned by all the big parks in the UK owned by the Tussauds Group, which is quite interesting, really. Because they're in the US as well, aren't they? They got a load of sort of waxworks museums in like Vegas and New York, haven't they?
I'm not familiar with waxworks.
Oh, okay. Well, they're basically more famous for their waxworks museums and stuff like that. But yeah, they started buying theme parks in the sort of mid-90s, and they own all the big ones over here. And the other one, which they don't own, is Chessington World of... No, it's Pleasurewood Hills American Theme Park, which is in Yarmouth.
So let's go through those main three: the Thorpe Park, the Chessington World of Adventures, and the Pleasurewood Hills American Theme Park. So Thorpe Park's nearest to you, correct?
Yes, it's it's between Staines and Chertsey, which is right next door to Windsor as well. You know, where the Queen's castle is, and secondary castle. But
it's not like right next to the castle, right? Like Alton Towers. Well,
you could technically see it from Thorpe Park Castle. Because it's literally within walking distance.
Oh, really?
So yeah, well, walking like 2-3 miles walking distance. But
okay.
Yeah, but the base Thorpe Park started in 1979. It was originally a land owned by a gravel factory, a gravel pit, or possibly concrete factory. I can't remember. But they took everything out of the ground, and rather than just leave it there, they thought it was a good idea to turn it into a theme park.
Why not?
And yeah, as you do. And it's basically an island now. It's an island, this theme park now. And a lot of the early rides were sort of ripping off sort of Disney stuff. Instead of the Haunted Mansion, we had Phantom Fantasia, which is equally as copyright infringing, really. Because
it's not Disneyland, it's Schmizneyland.
It's Disneyland. You have to use an old Simpsons clip where
Yes.
Yes, and they also had an early indoors. What's the dark ride roller coaster? Is that a name for that?
A dark ride roller coaster, indoor roller coaster.
Indoor roller coaster that's in pitch black. Yeah.
Right.
They had one of them that was called Space Station Zero. I think that was trying to emulate something from Disney.
Another space. On the Defunctland, this episode that we most recently did was about Alton Towers and their black hole, which was another Space Mountain ripoff. So that's 2 Space Mountain ripoffs in the UK. On top of the one at Cedar Point, which was Disaster Transport. I mean, everybody loves ripping off Space Mountain.
Why is this? Why go to the effort of researching an originality? You could just rip off somebody else popular.
There's only a certain amount of frontiers to set your roller coasters. You got the ocean, and that's nearly impossible. You have space, which is pretty easy because you could just star project, and then you have Earth, which is boring. So yeah, I guess you just have to go with Space Mountain. Yeah,
well, Chessington has a sort of runaway train, sort of the old Indiana Jones minecart thing.
A little bit of Big Thunder as well.
Yeah, I'm surprised that's not more popular, really, doing an Indiana Jones minecart thing, really.
Right, because then at Disneyland Paris, they have the Indiana Jones coaster. While in the States, Indiana Jones ride is a really complex dark ride at Disneyland. But in Europe, they have that minecart-esque Indiana Jones ride. Do they have like an Indiana Jones knockoff character at Chessington?
Yes, they do. They had Terror Tomb.
Wow, that was just a shot in the dark. I guess.
Yeah, which had that Welsh guy in Indiana Jones's friend, who was in the fourth one.
Mac?
Not Mac. He was in the fourth one, wasn't he? Jonesy, that bloke. No, it's not him. It's the Welsh bloke. He was always played sort of an Arabic sort of character.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Belloc. No, that's the villain.
Not Belloc.
I know who you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah, the fat bloke. Anyhow, yeah,
right.
Him. Yes, basically he's a villain in it, but he's got a sort of Hispanic accent for some reason, obviously for copyright infringement purposes. But yeah, so basically you following him around trying to find this jewel to give him immortality, and it turns out that it makes him the only way to become immortal is to be killed in it. So he gets killed at the end and then turns into a sort of ghoul thing.
Huh. And so
yes, it is actually exciting. Yes.
So this is at Chessington.
Chessington, yes, and that's replaced the Fifth Element. Not Fifth Element, Fifth Dimension. Sorry, Multipass.
And this is an indoor roller coaster, or is this a dark ride?
That's another dark ride. Yeah, that's the one I was telling you about previously. That it was designed. Well, the story and the characters were created by Douglas Adams, the guy who done Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Right. And he also wrote a couple of Doctor Who episodes as well. So he wrote the story for this Fifth Element thing, and that's a really interesting story behind it as well. You should definitely look into it for a future episode.
Oh, I definitely will. I was very interested in Alton Towers after researching it because it's a whole nother realm. U.S. parks, there's not many surprises, but because I've never really researched anything in the UK,
I'm full of surprises. Yeah, having your arms and legs ripped off is probably quite a nice surprise.
Well, it depends. You know what I mean? Like, there's not. I mean, the backstory you can kind of imagine where it started, and especially with Disney, the main history. But when going into a new park is always very interesting to me. But yeah, well, yes, getting decapitated or whatever, that's always a surprise. Or as Alton Towers, their crash.
Yeah, they done, and it happened a week later on the same roller coaster. They did nothing.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, if it happens too close to the opening of the ride, they'll just kind of brush it under the rug. Disney did that with America Sings. Alton Towers did that with the Black Hole and the Smiler, which was the most recent one. Because it's like, well, we just built it. We're not going to take it down. But if it's like 10 years in, they're like, all right, maybe we can replace it with something. Oh, where was I? Oh, now I know. Right. I love the ripoffs of everything Disney, because people, because when Disney changed everything with Disneyland, and that's why when people, I have some comments every once in a while on the channel that's like, stop talking about Disney. And I can't not talk about Disney, because everything you see in the amusement park industry is because of Disney, unless you go to like Coney Island or like one of those like seaside parks or a carnival. And
Disney's like the Kevin Bacon of theme parks, really, isn't it? Everything's connected.
It's like instead of the 5 Kevin Bacon,
8 degrees of separation. Or something like that.
It's the like 1 degree of Disney. It's like Busch Gardens, Disney, Alton Towers, Disney. Like everything is just based off of the Disney model. But what I love about copyright infringement in other countries is because it's so much more of a hassle to try to get, like, because with, say, Universal, and there's certain things in Universal that you could tell, like, oh, this is Universal's version of this Disney ride, but it's different because they have a different property and it's a different story. But like once you go overseas, they're just gonna make something up that's just basically the same thing with different names. I remember,
unless you're Chinese, when you just rip it verbatim.
And then you just use it. And they're like, as long as you keep paying for Transformers tickets, you can use Optimus in whatever ride you want. Just keep giving us $1 billion for every Transformers movie. But my favorite ever ripoff of any property in amusement park-esque is, I had a friend go on a carnival, or he went to Sandals Beach Resort, something. It was like a Sandals-esque resort in Mexico. It wasn't Sandals. And they had this Muppets show where it was Elmo and Kermit, and it was like worse than Times Square quality outfits. And like Mickey came out, and it was the scariest thing ever. And he gave me a video of it, and it is absolutely hilarious. They're like all dancing to like Lady Gaga songs, and for all the little kids, and it's like, hey, it's Mickey Mouse, and it's just this creepy.
It's a homeless person that starts demanding money from the audience.
He just wandered on, and they're like, put this on.
He starts punching people who take a photo of him or something.
Yeah. So, what else is at Thorpe Park?
I'm trying to think. I haven't been there for quite a while. I can't remember now. There's quite a few rides in that. They had what? They had a riverboat ride that was based on the frogs. You know that Paul McCartney song, the Frog song. That boo da 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 da.
Yeah, I recognize the melody. I could not sing the song.
Basically, they had a river ride based on that, but it was so decrepit by the thing. They had these like frogs with their jaws missing, so this pipe keeps spinning out in and out.
They should have just slowed down the song and made it a horror ride.
Yeah, it's borderline Five Nights at Freddy's as it was. All these broken animatronics sort of moving about and that because they couldn't be bothered to fix them.
And that's another thing is that when you're talking about the amusement industry, Disney is the only. I mean, Disney invented audio animatronics basically, but but no one else has been able to even come close. Like Universal tried for a while and like, screw it, we'll just put everything on a screen. We don't need this. And all these other parks, they just have really simple animatronics. Well,
you don't need to. I mean, if you think about it, they're running for like 11 hours a day, for like almost like 300 days a year. I mean, they probably wear out quite quickly for what they are.
Right.
It's quite. They must need constant sort of oiling at least.
Yeah, I don't know how those things keep running. I mean, I can imagine how the jawless frogs keep running. They just stand there. But I don't know how all the others do.
If you're into animatronics, you should look up a movie called The Rockafire Explosion. Somebody's put it on YouTube now. It's a really fascinating story about the evolution of the robots they use in Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, really?
So how they came to be, Rockafire Explosion. It's a really, really good movie.
I would love that. That'd be awesome.
Yes, it's on. Yeah, like I said, somebody's put it on YouTube now, so you can watch it for free. So
that's awesome.
Yes.
So Chessington, then, if
Chessington, yes.
I was about to do an attraction there, called what is it? Something. Professor
Burp's Bubble Works.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, that was really, really good. That was a sort of a water ride where they go around this sort of a Willy Wonka type factory, but they make fizzy soda there, and it was great because they actually had the smells going. I've never seen that before in a dark ride before. Actual smells going around, and they had things like you could smell the orange in orange soda, stuff like that, going around.
Huh.
That was a really good thing. Unfortunately, they completely ruined it because it got a bit commercialized and they changed it from soda bubbles into soap bubbles. A company called Imperial Leather. Have you heard of them before?
I have not.
Oh, okay. They're like this sort of Victorian soap company over here. And basically, they sponsored the ride and they turned it into sort of out bubbles and bubble bath and stuff like that. It completely ruined the ride. They got rid of Professor Burp as well because it sounded a bit weird. And the weirdest thing was this ride was in the middle of this sort of Transylvania town as well. So it wasn't. So I don't know how they got the association of vampires and drinking soda.
They got to drink something. I guess they drink blood.
They drink blood, yeah.
Yeah, never mind. That doesn't make. You're right. That doesn't make sense.
It's a new flavor of Mountain Dew. Did you know? Yeah.
Mountain Dew, code blood.
Yeah.
Do the dew before the dew does you.
Mountain Dew type O.
It goes down easily no matter what type you are. Oh, that'd be a fun ride to have all the sodas for soda for vampires. There's a lot of good things you can. It could be there's an old Mitch Hedberg bit, who's a comedian in the United States that did he called it my doctor's name is Dr. Acula. And he keeps biting my neck. You could have Dr. Acula be your first, your Bubble Works-esque guy. But I'm interested in the idea of having a Willy Wonka type ride because I've always thought that would be interesting.
I'm surprised nobody's done that actually.
Right, because there is literally an attraction in the Wonka factory. Where's my Willy Wonka boat ride?
Yeah,
that would be horrifying.
Yeah, especially that. Did you ever get freaked out as a kid? That scene where that chicken's head gets chopped off.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It's like burned into your brain as a child, isn't it?
Well, when yeah, that was creepy. And then they came out with the new one with Johnny Depp. With that entire thing is like a fever dream.
Well, he said he was trying to do a Michael Jackson impression the entire time. In that
Was
movie.
he?
And it feels a bit weird, isn't it? I mean, so yeah.
Yeah, that one was, and yeah, but Gene Wilder was the scary. I mean, the boat scene in the Gene Wilder version, the original, was the scariest thing, and I think that would make an amazing dark ride. Just
come watch the chickens and their heads cut off. Yeah,
I think yeah. And they actually do it.
Real chicken costs a fortune. Sponsored by KFC.
Yeah. No. Well, they could just have like that. That could be the kitchen area. They could have like a really isolated, and then on the other side, and then like the post show is you get to go eat the chicken. But I would always find that interesting. I think it would be very.
You could have old Mr. Worming. Was it Worm? What's the name of the villain in it? Mr. Wormington or something. Worms.
Oh right, the one that there could be a they're doing this thing called the Live Character Initiative at the Disney parks now. I don't know if you've heard of this.
No, I haven't. No.
It's basically maybe I'm getting it mixed up with anyways if I'm remembering correctly, the Living Character Initiative is the idea they're really implementing it into Star Wars land, is that they have actual actors and cast members that are just roaming, and they can tell by certain like things on your Magic Band and certain things whether like you've written this specific ride. So if you rode the Millennium Falcon ride, they'll come up to you and be like, I heard you flew the Falcon. And like, you know, it's very like personal and very like one-on-one, and they're just roaming around the land. They're trying to do this and trying to very Westworld-esque, you know. I think it would be hilarious to have
shooting the guests though.
What's that? Oh yeah, right.
I said I've got a bald guy go around shooting the guests.
Right, exactly. But I think it would be interesting to have a Willy Wonka factory land, and then you have whatever that bad guy's name is, and he's like, "Hey, I heard you can do this," and he's like actually trying to get you to do illegal things.
Yeah, you go around accosting them in the yeah.
I heard you. If you jump off the ride, they'll give you $20 or like.
Got all these orange midgets coming up to you singing ironic songs about you.
Tapping you on the shoulder. You want some chocolate? No. Who are you? I think I don't know if you're familiar with the Jungle Cruise at all.
I've seen sort of video footage of it.
Right. Very bad puns. Very bad. It's very like jolly, and you know, you're going through and it's like, how can you tell that's an African elephant? Because it's in Africa. I think it'd be hilarious to have that little boat ride, and it's like, it's a lollipops. And then it's like you go into the tunnel, and then the cast member who's been giving puns and fun this whole time just changes. He's like, and the wheels keep on turning, and the rows keep on, or whatever the speech from Willy Wonka is as you go into the tunnel.
It's sort of in my head. I can't just about remember it. But yeah.
I know. I can't remember it either. But yeah, that would be. Well, we should go into business together and open a Willy Wonka park.
I'm literally surprised nobody's ever done that, considering how popular that is over the years. And I mean, they even remade it recently into a Tom and Jerry movie, didn't they? And
oh yeah, Nostalgia Critic did something on that, I believe.
Everybody did it. Every angry movie critic jumped on that one.
I can see the thumbnails in my head. Face palm next to movie poster.
You've got a stupid face now, haven't you, on a thumbnail? Look like you're having a stroke or something. I said you got to, when you do thumbnails now, when you're super popular, you got to pull a stupid face in the corner, look like you're having a stroke or something. You know?
Right, exactly. Thumbnails are a whole other thing. I will say, sir, your thumb.
Not just somebody looks in the corner is how unlikely I'm going to be watching. So
right, your thumbnails are very engaging, and they're not. Okay. They're not. I mean, you advertise correctly what you're going to talk about on like the majority of top 5 people. But I will say,
I commented this video expecting clickbait. I was surprised.
Oh, on mine?
No, on mine.
Oh, right. Yeah, because you actually give substance and you do research, and it's not just rehashing. Like Watch Mojo, not no offense to Watch Mojo, but like Watch Mojo's top 10 fight scenes part 2. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I will say that looking,
I've been stealing off me as well. Them lot. So.
Oh really? Have they?
Yeah, they got caught though as well, because I literally stole one of my scripts verbatim and got caught out because I actually made up some facts in that video, and they actually stole my made up facts.
I've never done that, but I've considered it. I really
that's the only way to do it. It's called plagiarism traps. It's called, and because facts are fair use. So you can't copyright facts, but you can copyright fiction. So that's how people stop others from being ripping off others.
That's funny. Yeah, I'll do that, but I don't know how I'd sneak that in. Because so
Mickey Mouse is really a rat.
No, Mickey Mouse is a series of 200 rats animating the costume. Then Watch Mojo's like, top 10 things you didn't know about Mickey Mouse. It's actually 200 rats and more.
That's Rat King, that is.
Right,
200. Right. They get 200 rats in a massive ball, and they get all their tails tied to each other. It's called a Rat King.
Is that actually what it is?
Yeah, it's actually true. Look up Rat King.
I don't want to do that.
You see a massive ball of rats, and they get. I mean, the ball's about like 6 foot tall as well. Sometimes they get so massive.
Oh my gosh! Well, then your thumbnails. Whenever you go to the, your thumbnails are so bright and popping and filled.
Oh, that's what I do. That's my clickbaiting. That is. So,
right, exactly. And then if you go to your videos page to see all of them lined up, it's like boom, like it's very like whoa. It's like it seems like every thumbnail is competing with another to be the most interesting. It's like top 5 this, another one's like screw that, top 5 this, and it's like what? My brain can't handle all of the top 5s. But no, it's I really do appreciate that you actually research and that your content is not the typical top 5 content that we've seen.
I don't know why people want to watch the same video they already know the answer to. Like, did you know Mario 2 was really Doki Doki Panic? Was it really? That's just obvious stuff like that.
Right. And I try to do it as well with my history videos, although it's harder sometimes when someone else has already done a history video. So I always I go deep into the message boards. That's my favorite thing to do. That's the best place I've found to find at least theme park information. I don't know about your research.
I thought old gaming magazines mine is. That's why a lot of it's not on the internet, because it's in print form still.
Oh, right. I've actually found that to be true for a lot of Disney books as well. If you go to specific Imagineers, you can find out a little bit more about the rides. But it's also hard because everybody wants to talk about these things. The video game community is probably 3 times as large as the theme park community. I don't even know if you can quantify that type of thing. Yeah,
I think the gaming side is very oversaturated.
Oh yeah,
especially Let's Plays and stuff like that.
What's up, YouTube?
What up? It's your boy.
It's your boy Kevin Perger coming to you with Thrillville Part 20. Today we're going to learn how to pick up trash in the new land I created.
Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe.
Yes. So let's talk. Do you have anything else on Chessington?
Let's have a think. They had a runaway train roller coaster that went round a thing. I used to like that as a kid. They got loads of sort of generic. They've basically over the years have turned them into sort of a more kiddie theme park. Thorpe Park is more adult theme park now. Basically, Thorpe Park's the Alton Towers of the South, really, in terms of theme parks. And they turn, because literally Thorpe Park and Chessington are within about 10 miles distance of each other, so they had to sort of differentiate themselves rather than sort of, because it's having two theme parks compete with each other when you own them both is quite a sort of a difficult thing to sort of manage.
Oh right.
Well, so they make a more kiddie one.
I see. Similarly, that's in the United States, Kings Island is like 2 hours or maybe less from Cedar Point, which are 2 very prominent parks, and they're both owned by Cedar Fair. So, but they don't differentiate. They just do the same thing pretty much.
It's I don't know. I don't see the point in that. If you can have the same things in each one, it's like a chain restaurant, really, isn't it? It's like McDonald's of theme parks. You're going to go there and expect the same thing each time. What's the point of going all that way when you get it all at home and stuff?
Yeah, I guess that's true. But if you're on the road, man, I mean, McDonald's is going to be serving McDonald's, so I guess.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But it doesn't make sense to have them so close together at all. But yeah, no, everything is. Cedar Point does try to differentiate in the fact that they're very thrill based, and Kings Island does try to do a little. I mean, I don't know if you saw my episode on Son of Beast.
Yeah, I did. Yes, that was a good one. That was.
Thank you. I was fishing for that. I'm just kidding.
No, it was terrible. You should be ashamed of yourself. Do it again.
Thank you. I need this kind of constructive criticism. That's YouTube comment. Constructive criticism is this is bad. Thank you.
Well, I don't know. Your criticism is you should go kill yourself.
Yeah, that is actually. Which now that we mentioned that, there's going to be a lot of people in the comments just saying that. I get it because they said it in the podcast. But yeah, the Kings Island and Cedar Point are similar in that sense. But so is that you think that? But as they differentiate a little bit, but
well, like I said, one's for adults and one's for kids now.
Right. So which one is for more kids?
Chessington,
right.
Thorpe Park are more adult rides that go upside down and stuff like that, really.
And
because in any rides they're going upside down over here for some reason. I don't know why. So no loops or anything.
And
what are they called?
Chessington.
Yes.
Does that have a Sesame Street attraction?
It had a Beano Town attraction, which was a British comic series. I think they had a Teletubbies park there.
Oh, whoa. That's a throwback. Rest in peace, Purple Teletubby. Tinkly Winkley just died.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think his name was Tinkly Winkley.
Yes. Yeah, they had stuff like that. I think they had they got a Peppa Pig theme park over here as well. I've never been there, but my nieces have been there and they go there several times a year because they like it so much.
And there is one that we have not talked about, which I'm looking forward to. I've been saving this one, is Pleasurewood Hills American Theme Park.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about this, please.
Well, it's sort of a more low budget theme park compared to the ones owned by Tussauds. They don't have as spectacular rides. They got the normal sort of dinghy water boat slide. Has that got a name for it? You know those.
What type of ride? Like, describe it.
You know the water slides that you go down in a dinghy thing.
Oh yeah. The just like the one drop.
Yeah. Well, no, it's like three small ones going down.
Oh, like a flume.
Yeah, like a flume.
Okay.
Except it's not like in water. You don't go swimming in it. We don't have any water parks in the UK for some obvious reason, because it's already bloody raining here as it is. So.
Oh right.
So yeah, so they got a lot of smaller rides and stuff like that. They got some roller coasters. Most of the UK rides, nearly all the UK roller coasters are made out of metal over here as well. There's the only one I could think of made out of wood is the Grand National at Blackpool Pleasure Beach, which I went on once and broke because of my weight. So.
Wait, when you went, it was broken, you said?
I broke it.
Oh, you broke it?
Yeah.
How did you break it?
Because of I couldn't even get in the turnstiles to go on the ride. I had to go for the disabled entrance because of my weight. But I sat on the front, and it's a Victorian roller coaster. It's literally over 100 years old, and I sat on the front, and I ripped the front of the thing off because of my weight, sort of holding onto it. So they had to close it. Basically, the Grand National, it's two roller coasters sort of racing each other. I don't know if that's got a name as well, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, they're the.
Because you done with video on one called like Dueling Dragons or something, didn't you, or something?
That was Park Ride History. I did one in this in the Son of Beast one. There's a dueling roller coaster. It's a wooden one at Kings Island. It's just it's an out and back.
Yeah, well, it's a very basic one, the Grand National. Basic is there for historical purposes. I think it might even be listed now. It's so old and rare. So so that's that Blackpool Pleasure Beach. I don't really do Pleasure Beach things because they're sort of borderline local fun fair things, you know.
And
so
Pleasurewood though.
Pleasurewood Hills, yeah.
Yeah, Pleasurewood Hills is what is that themed after? You mentioned it.
Sort of what they sort of interpret as an American theme park. So basically, they try and stylize everything made out of wood and sort of made out of look at sort of barns and stuff like that. Everything's got American flags, stars and stripes all over them and stuff like that. They got a mascot called Woody Bear. I remember that. But all the rides are sort of slightly cheaper ones. They got like the Sky rides, things like that. That flume ride I was telling you about. Some sort of basic roller coasters, and they got a dark show there that was based on sort of Frankenstein and things like that. I think I went in there once. I can't remember the story though, but they got bought out. Well, they tried to license the Mr. Blobby license in the 90s because he was like a popular character. Basically, he looked like a pink bowling pin with yellow spots, and basically went around attacking guests, sort of grabbing hold of them and falling over and stuff like that.
What?
Well, that was the character Mr. Blobby, like to be this overexcited mascot, and he went round running up to the guests and grabbing hold of them and sort of rolling over.
Wait, where was this?
Pleasurewood Hills.
Well, this was at Pleasurewood Hills, and this was
Pleasurewood Hills. Well, basically, this is all the Blobbyland theme parks. If you look on YouTube, they've basically some of them are abandoned, and they got this sort of urbex explorers and that all these, and there's all sort of slowly rotting and stuff like that. So it's quite sort of very Silent Hill, sort of scary, spooky these old Blobbyland theme parks now. But yeah, he was a mascot who went round assaulting people, basically.
Is that what their idea of Americans are?
Well, that was sort of a sideline. I mean, he's a very British character.
Yeah, so this is a American theme park, and their mascot is a bear, because that's we just have bears everywhere here.
Yeah, well, he also had those red striped pants on.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding?
One of those 1800 sort of steam train driver hats. You know, those big fluffy, plumpy hats that old steam train drivers have.
That would be very nice, because people wear just like American flag pants and American flag hats. I mean, we are very American. This is not that far off from what we are. But I would love if some of the people that, you know, were wearing flag stuff would just put it on some wacky stuff, like a train conductor hat, like wear an old-timey train conductor American flag outfit just to your rallies or whatever. Just please, anything, like just make it wacky. Like wear like a astronaut suit that's completely American flagged. Like just make it weird.
So I think they also had a raccoon as a mascot as well. But yeah, but they didn't go around assaulting people. They just done the old hello thing and sort of gave kids a hug and stuff like that. When you're allowed to do that to children and go around hugging random children. But yeah, just like that. But Mr. Blobby went around assaulting people. Sort of like going around rugby tackling them and shit like that. literally physical assault on people.
In our Willy Wonka factory, we should let the Oompa Loompas punch guests in the face.
They could headbutt them in the balls or something.
Yeah, it's a very interactive park.
Harder action park, you know.
Here are your meat glasses on the way out for your black eyes. They're not edible like everything else. Oh yeah, everything in our Willy Wonka park's gonna have to be edible. So let's see. I mean, I'm a little uncomfortable with the idea that there's a park based around America, but I can't be, because everything in the United States is based off of Europe and the UK. I mean, we have Busch Gardens, the old country. We have what is
Harry
it?
Potter Park, which is sort of English, as a very stylized sort of Victorian England. That is
right. We have Harry Potter,
even
Universal.
Yeah, we
have Epcot, which kind of has a pavilion. Yeah, we do it. We do it too. But ours are. I don't know.
Well, you got all those national parks in sort of Disneyland, haven't you? Like you had sort of China, and you had. I think you got Britain in there, haven't you?
In what parks?
In the Disney parks, you go around sort of a tourist attraction thing. Right,
the Epcot pavilions of the different countries. Yeah. That we have one there. We have one there, and then of course Disney decided, hey, let's just go. Well, Michael Eisner, wonderful CEO of Disney from 1984 to 2005, decided let's go make a park in the Europe, and let's put it in Paris. And you've never been to Disneyland Paris, correct?
No, like I said, it's a bit too far away for me, really.
Right.
I think a lot of Americans think Europe is just like one massive country that you can walk in, into and out of.
That is what I think. Yes.
Yeah, but it's not. It's like a load of millions of little, tens of little countries and stuff like that, each with their own culture and customs and stuff like that. So they get quite offended that they think they're one massive clump of countries.
Well, we don't have bear train conductors, so right back at you.
I'm just not taught them properly. You let them go.
We didn't train them.
Yeah,
we're wasting their potential as bears. Yeah, the only reason they eat people is because they want to conduct. They think they're all train conductors, and they're trying to enter the job market by eliminating their competition. But in Europe, I just thought customs was you take off your monocle and you tip your top hat and then you walk through to each country.
Yeah. Well, we can't do that now with Brexit. So you got all that coming to us. So we're going to be literally distant from the rest of Europe now. So we're almost. I mean, apart from trading with them, we're not have nothing to do with them soon. So.
Yeah, well, that's going to be problematic because then we're going to have to actually come to grips.
Well,
with
it makes no difference for an American coming to the UK because you'd have to take your passport anyway.
Yeah, but now we can't. That ruins the illusion that you can just walk from country to country. Like, it ruins the illusion that everything is just one, like Europe is a singular place.
Yeah.
Which is a little less offensive than Africa being a singular place, because we use Africa. There's actually a book called Africa is Not a Country. It's on Amazon. Highly recommend looking at the preview, because it's not funny, but it's a little bit funny. We need one that Europe is not a country.
Oh, yeah, no, we should do, because, like I said, we have loads of different cultures and nations and stuff like that. We actually are going to be getting our own Universal theme park soon in London.
Oh, really?
Universal London, yes. And unfortunately, the UK aren't very good at sort of commissioning sort of characters and licenses like that, so we have to import everything else. The only UK thing they've confirmed there is that they've got a Doctor Who ride coming there and a Top Gear ride, which seems rather crap, to be honest.
Of course, everybody loves Top Gear.
Yeah. Hello, I'm Jeremy Clarkson. Come on my ride.
I will punch you in the face.
Any Irish people here, I'm going to punch you.
What was I going to say? Oh, but back to Disneyland Paris. The idea that, well, we all create parks. We think we can cross culture without really doing any research. My favorite anecdote is they called it Euro Disneyland. And as if the people of France and certain countries in Europe didn't think we were all just a bunch of greedy capitalists enough, we call the park that translated to money Disneyland, currency Disneyland. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like calling it dollar Disneyland over here. So it's just I just found that very funny. If they just did a little more research, maybe they would have called it Euro Disneyland. But they changed it eventually.
Disneyland in Paris.
Or you could just call it "We want your money, please give us your money." Land.
I was trying to go for something a bit more xenophobic, like Disneyland.
Yeah. Croissant land.
Come here, you American pig.
Disney now featuring baguettes, just like everything you could think of.
Basically, they replaced Mickey Mouse with Gaston for the whole park, really.
Yeah. Sure, and then we could go to the Middle East, and Aladdin will be played by the white voice actor of Aladdin will be the mascot. Go to what was I talking about? I keep getting off track. This entire conversation is just not. It was never even on track. But what was I talking about? The Euro Disneyland. I can't remember. What else?
Euro Disneyland is built just down the road from Asterix theme park as well, which is quite weird. Park Asterix, I think it's called.
Oh, really? And has that not gone out of business because of you?
No, it's massive. It's really, really popular. It's doing really well because I think being French people are very sort of culturally, this is France. We do the French thing, and so
right.
And sort of Asterix is very French. It's a very French character. It's basically like, would you rather, a Simpson theme park or something? Would you, it's sort of a very sort of culturally entwined into their culture, really. So Asterix is quite popular. I mean, they got a Moomins theme park as well. Not in France, but I forgot where it is. I think it's the Netherlands or something. So I've always wanted to go there.
Huh. I get the idea of people don't want to go to. They'd rather support their own park than Disney.
Well, I don't think it's a sort of any sort of boycott or supporting anything. It's just they grew up with those characters more than Disney. Really.
Yeah,
so they're personal to them.
It's so unfortunate though, because Disneyland Paris is a beautifully designed park, one of Disney's best work ever, and they just failed. It's just so disappointing. They should have done it here in the United States, where no one would have. Or they at least, I don't know.
Did you get many adverts to go to Euro Disney in America?
Did we? I think there was one at the end of the Little Mermaid VHS, if I remember correctly. No, maybe not. I don't remember. Did you get the adverts?
Yeah, we get them all the time. they're always on sale or something. Come for the it's the anniversary. It's the 25th anniversary of Euro Disney this year, I believe. I might be wrong, but
I think it's it might have been just this last year, towards the end of last year.
Well, I remember there's loads of celebrations and that come down and blah blah blah.
Right. Yeah, because it was 1992, so that you're right. It would have been either they're celebrating either last year or this year. Disney likes to make their big celebrations last years and years and years, because by the time the 25th anniversary celebration is over, it's time for the 30th anniversary celebration.
I know it sort of loses sort of all meaning when they do it every single 5 years and that. So I'll just wait for this one. It's like a bus.
But I will say that Disneyland Paris is a little more of an accomplishment whenever it stays open because of the financial ruin it started in. So it's like we made it.
I was going to say, do you think these evolution of new parks, they sort of polish them off rather over the last one as well, sort of more sort of refined over the previous theme park and stuff like that?
What was the question again?
Do you think they're more polished? They're more sort of refined how they do the process and sort of get everything right?
Yeah.
Sort of design-wise.
Well, what I've noticed is the Eisner era was all about being bold and doing something different, and so with that comes a lot, and that's very good. But with that comes a lot more room for failures, and so Euro Disneyland turned out to be an amazing park, just an incredible park, and it wasn't off base on European ideals. They actually did their research. The marketing was wrong, and so they didn't get it right, and also people didn't like the idea of Disney coming anyways. More recently with Disneyland, the one that just opened in Singapore, I've heard mixed reviews on it. Although the attractions are apparently incredible, and I've heard people are going. Obviously, they're gonna turn a profit. Iger is very good about making sure making sure that everything is just right, so there's no way we're gonna fail. It's like it's just a little bit of magic and then a little bit of risk management, and like just to make sure everything's very non-failure. But I do remember there's 2 parks in Paris, right? There's Studio Park as well. Walt Disney Studio Park, and I've heard that one is not doing very well.
Oh,
so it's European Disney parks are interesting. I find international Disney parks are interesting. I've never talked about an international park. I've done a little bit about Disneyland, but what's even more interesting are these different characters they create for something like Chessington, like Dr. What was his name again? Sorry,
Professor Burp.
Professor Burp. Right?
Yes.
Oh, because soda. I get it. See?
Yeah.
That's fun.
And also, that's from the Willy Wonka movie as well. You know, the fizzy lifting drinks.
I was going to say that when you said it was. I know. I was thinking about the fizzy lifting drinks.
Fizzy lifting drinks. Good day, sir.
You breached the contract. That would be the best living character initiative. I'm telling you. Our park idea. We need to get some copyright on that right now, so no one takes that idea away from us, because we can make sure
we don't give the park to somebody at the end of the tour.
Yes, exactly.
We'll give it to the poor kid. Yeah, that will do.
Just this little boy. Just his parents dragged him to the park. You're in charge of this now.
Take him to as well for sort of copyright.
You are now the CEO of the Willy Wonka park. You have to keep. Here's your little suit.
I suppose you could actually avoid a lot of litigation having a child in charge of the company, because they're too young to be sued, aren't they? They're a minor. So.
Right. We've been doing some really shady stuff, and since you're a minor, the worst that's going to happen is you're going to go to juvie, or I don't even know what it would be. We have juvie here for juvenile detention.
I think we do. It used to be called Borstal over here, but I think they've got a juvenile over here as well, but they're sort of frowned upon, really. You know, they sort of try their best not to put them in there.
Yeah, I think all of ours are private, so they're like, lock them up. Let's make some money off of them, which is unfortunate. So
I'll tell you another thing about British parks is another thing they're ripping off with Disney. They're all opening up hotels as well. Thorpe Park, Alton Towers, and Chessington all got hotels in them now, and they don't like using the word theme park anymore. They like to call themselves a resort as well.
Yes, that is very true. That is, very true for American parks as well. Is that
it's a theme park called a dirty word nowadays? Is it? It's like Kentucky Fried Chicken changed themselves to KFC because they don't like the fried word,
I think honestly, you might be kind of right. I think the resort gives a more
sort of vacation destination, if you call it a resort,
right? Much less of a.
It sounds more luxurious, doesn't it?
Yes,
really?
It's like
the monkey roller coasters and a
come to our resort infested with mice.
Yeah,
yeah, that's awesome. Do you have anything else that you would like to talk about? Anything else about theme parks or video games that you'd like to touch on? Anything, honestly.
Well, like I said, the only real theme park related video game I really enjoyed was Theme Park itself. You should actually look into it. It's quite good. You can do like really scummy things, like if you put more salt in the fries, people will then go and buy a drink. And if you put more ice in the drinks, they'll have to buy a second drink. You can do little things like that.
What? I'll have to play that.
Yeah, you can do things to make more money by like putting more salt in the fries to make them and that. And also,
oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. I'd love to do that.
You can get things wrong, like if you put a burger bar next to a roller coaster, you see all the kids throwing up on it and stuff like that, and then you have to get a janitor out to clean up all the sick on the ride and stuff.
That's incredible.
So it's a great ride in that, yeah. That thing.
Oh, I will. So wait, what was it called again?
Theme Park.
Just Theme Park.
Theme Park. Yeah, you can get it on EA's Origin. Sometimes it's free as well.
Are you sure they didn't change the name to Resort?
No. They made another one called Theme Park Inc., which is a bit. Theme Park World isn't very good. It's a sort of a dumbed down version of it.
Huh. Well, I'll have to. It's like Civilization for theme parks.
Basically, yes. So you go around the world building theme parks and stuff like that, and sort of building up an empire.
That sounds awesome. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you everyone for listening. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the Defunctland podcast. Thank you for listening, and thank you for visiting Defunctland.